a dangle, and the dangle gave a dongle, and here we are.
Retired the old dongle for the new dongle. Now you
I'm,
have all the dongles.
I have dongles for days.
A big
Anyway,
old dongle.
howdy. Welcome to this weekend's episode of Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. I am your host, Viko the Bearded One. You can call me JT for short. As always, I am joined.
Joined?
Joined.
I joined you.
I am joined today by the magnificent Alex the Jarl Martinez.
Magnifico.
That's
Right.
2 weeks in a row.
What's going on, folks?
I feel like we owe the viewers, listeners, the combo pack.
Those people.
The
Yeah.
party people actuals. We owe
Those
them
people.
an explanation of what's going on and why we're not every week right now.
Right. I feel like they definitely deserve an explanation.
They do. And here's what's going on, folks. We have a building, has walls, has skeleton, has gables,
Bones, some would say.
has a floor,
It's got good bones.
insulation. I've been on the property every day for the past week and a half, working. Been pretty nice. So, Doc was up here, and other than terrorizing me and making out with my dogs, he was assisting in putting this big bag, man, blah, blah, blah.
Big Mama Jamma.
Big mamma jamma, together. So, yeah, we've been working on that. If you guys would like, go on to the Bearded Viking Mead Co. Instagram site or the actual Facebook site and take a gander at what we've been doing. Some great photos and videos.
We're gonna have to start an Only Beards website just to like fund the rest of the build.
Well, yeah, I was thinking of OnlyFans and just have a picture of a bunch of dudes with beards, with their beards blowing in the wind and fans right
Just
there.
like majestic. Yeah.
Yeah, like Herbal Essence commercial, but with wind.
Yeah.
You
It'd
know?
be good. All wearing like jorts and New Balance, like white New
Yeah.
Balance.
Oh, I can't wait for the people to see the advertisements that are coming out here soon. The jorts are going to be majestical.
Yeah.
What are you drinking today?
I am drinking the nectar of the gods. Just all natural light for the day drinking.
Well,
Oh, you
because
have oh no, it's not. What is that?
this one is the Montana
The Montana honey.
honey moonshine whiskey. So funny story about this. Got into a logical conversation about construction building with Doc himself and
The logical.
yeah, by logical, neither of us have any fucking logic anyways, but the conversation could have gone awry, but instead we betted on rye.
Did you mean
And
for
I
the
won.
rye?
I won.
Oh.
So that's how I came across this wonderful stash of more delicious whiskey. Soon, 4th of July weekend, I will have constant mead flowing. And I will probably have mead here on every episode.
Like flowing, like river flowing?
Well, it's going to be flowing for sure because that's our target date for grand opening.
Like a heavy flow?
No, because it's just a little bit too chunky for me.
Okay. All right.
You know, like a light to moderate flow. Yeah. You know.
Right. Cool.
So those are the updates. So target
July 4th.
Weekend. Yeah.
Freedom Day.
Freedom. And then right after that, we've got the Irreverent Warriors Silky Hike. So I found out because sometimes
Tuesday the 4th. Tuesday the 4th of July.
The weekend after that
Oh.
is like the target date.
So
anyway,
like the 8th?
Sure.
7th and 8th, like Friday the 7th.
Friday the 7th. That's a weird day. Sounds like it's gonna be Friday the 13th, but it's like Friday the 7th. It's kind of a half letdown.
Yeah. Huh. All right.
So
interesting.
One thing that I found out is that we can apply, because we're a winery, quote unquote winery. We can actually apply and we can have a open booth that we can do tastings for the Irreverent Warriors Silky Hike.
Really?
That's a special conditions permit, but we can apply for it. We can do it in the park.
So we can sling booze as a special condition of our
Yeah.
license. So does that mean that we're only gonna sling the booze to hikers? Or if you're a veteran and just a passerby,
Anybody who wants to taste the sweetness in your mouth.
the
If you want
hooch.
my if you want the honey in your mouth, if you want my honey in your mouth, just come on by.
Dang, just dripping.
Just
Yeah, it's like a beard
yeah,
conditioner.
it's kind of yeah. So
It's hot.
we get to work on that. I'm actually excited to hand that permit off to somebody who's not me because I'm tired of permits. Uh on Monday, this coming Monday, final steps for our county permit, I guess, if you will. Um, I get to sit out on our soon-to-be patio at the property and count traffic for an hour.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
All 5 cars.
Um, I'm going to definitely count to 5, based off of today's traffic projection on a Friday in the middle of the day. Probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 200.
You can only count the red dump truck once.
That's fine. I was thinking every other one, maybe every third.
I was gonna say because that guy is like the hardest working dump truck driver I think I've ever seen.
He hasn't even been around.
Really?
No, I think he went out of business.
Oh,
No,
why?
not really. I don't think he actually went out of business. I think he upgraded his dump truck because there's new dump trucks. There's plural.
Ah.
So yeah, yeah.
So, we'll just put out a sign saying, "Hey, backfill here," so we can backfill shit if we need to.
Oh yeah. I
We'll just have him dump his loads in our backyard.
I do appreciate a solid dumping of a load.
I was just talking about this. I think a solid load dumping, it, you know, it doesn't
It's
get as
good.
much, yeah, doesn't get as much love as it should.
I don't think so either, actually. Now that you bring it up, I feel like if you dump a good load,
Yeah.
like I mean, you're obviously filling a lot of backspace, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
There's, some would say the building blocks
of the world.
or just anything, really.
Yeah. I mean,
I
yeah. I mean,
mean,
the world is pretty much everything.
yeah, I don't know that I've ever been a part of a bad load dumping.
I don't think maybe I have been part of a bad load dumping, but that was mostly us in Iraq in general. So what do you want?
Yeah, there's that. All right. Well,
Yeah. I want to do a huge shout out to our followers. You guys have been super patient. We've only dropped 2 podcasts in the past month. It's kind of disheartening. So, but
yeah.
we do want you guys to know that we are continuously trying to go. Our main issue is the amount of hours in a day. So if somebody could press pause for a couple hours a day and then let me work through those hours, that'd be cool.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So thank you all for continuing to follow us. Remember to like, comment, and share, subscribe, all of the things.
Hit the little bell so you know when there's a new episode.
Yeah, we have 117 subscribers on the YouTube, and only 2 of those are me. So that's cool.
Ah, one of them is me.
Yeah. Um, so you guys are doing a great job getting out there, letting people know. So we really appreciate it. We really appreciate y'all for continuing support. We have a ton of followers on Spotify, which is interesting, and also Apple.
I didn't know that there was that many people on Spotify.
I didn't know that there was that many people that downloaded things permanently to their phone and they download all of our episodes. I mean, I'm really impressed.
I'm very flattered that you guys would save, 100
Our
megabytes just for us.
our jackasses.
Yes, the
100%.
jackassery is strong.
Facts. Facts. So last week we had a great chat with Doc, and we spoke about what it takes to be a father or a father's love, and how to say no to your kids. It was a really deep convo, actually. I fully enjoyed that convo.
Yeah, it seemed like it was way deeper than we maybe intended, but I think either way, a lot of different good perspectives on, you know, how you fucked up, or how each of us fucked up and how we, you know, deal with the kids and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think today's probably going to go down a rabbit hole. It's pretty deep on accident too,
Oh,
because it's a solid conversation in men's mental health. It's something I think that a lot of people brush upon, and they want to be like a power, like, you go on the Instagram Reels or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and they're like, you don't know a man's burden and blah 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 blah. I think it's really important to talk about the burden that a man feels, and how we can mitigate that with our friends. So I posted a video on Facebook, on my personal Facebook, and it was all about, the burden that a man goes through on a day-to-day basis. It was just a really light touch thing, and one of the Facebook followers of mine talked about, lying, cheating women, and how they do this and how to do that. And um it was interesting when he posted that. I just thought to myself, you know, where's your friends at? Where's your boys at? What are you doing to mitigate that? Like, you've got to find a realm with that you can say, hey, this is my burden, but this is what I'm dealing with. Now, we've lightly touched on this in the past, but I think that the burden of being a man is really only for the strong.
uh, I don't know. I think that, that implies different things. I don't know if I saw the video that you posted.
Well,
Are
probably
you
because
talking about?
you just probably have me blocked for a little bit. It's fine.
Oh
You deal
yeah,
with me. You talk
yeah.
to me all the time, anyways.
Oh, is it the music video that you're talking about?
No, no, no. Don't watch that right now. You can't watch the
Yeah, I'm not.
music
No, I'm
video.
not. I don't want to because you were talking like everybody said that it was super sad.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
watch
I
that
didn't
one.
want to.
No,
I didn't want to.
you need to watch it regardless, because it'll make you feel good about Gunner. But
Oh,
different,
is the dude that's crying and stuff? I didn't even see that.
bro. Just
I don't want to.
you
I don't
gotta
want to.
you gotta you gotta you gotta.
I I don't know whether the burden of being a man is hard. I think the maybe the burden of taking care of people because there's lots of men out there that don't have any kind of fucking burden that are unhitched, unattached, and just do whatever the fuck they want. So I think maybe it's more of the burden of responsibility more
So
so than the burden of man.
no, no. I think okay. So when let's clarify that. That's a great conversation starter, dude. So the burden of being a
That's
man.
why I am the co-host.
Yeah, color commentator. And
Yeah.
it's funny because you're colorful.
Some would say melanin.
Yeah, something. Some would say more suntanish.
Eh,
Um,
darker hair.
yeah, it's fine. So let's talk about that, right? So you have two categories of people out there that fit the demographic of what we're talking about. Okay, you've got your married slash men in a relationship, and then you have your single men. Okay, and when we speak about men, I am not talking about fuckboys. So let's make sure that we understand. There's a difference between a man who is actively trying to pursue and grow their life, and then there is what I guess would be like the predecessor to becoming a man, and that's being a fuckboy. Everybody has a fuckboy stage. Everybody does.
Chad.
Um, yeah, definitely a Chad stage. Um, Gym
So
tan laundry. They're
so
in
not
in that piece. Go ahead.
so you're not talking about as like a gender specific man. You're just talking about like your definition of a man.
Yeah, so I think maybe it's not just necessarily just my definition of a man, but I'm talking about like the role that we create for ourselves in our lives and the burden that is associated with that versus the role of our partners in the world, right? So if you are a single man and you're out there and you're just doing your thing, typically, the burden for you is dealing with the emotional issues that come from the opposite sex or same sex if you really want to go down that path or, whatever. So in this realm, what I'm talking about is the burden of being a man who works, call it 60 hours a week, comes home, needs to understand how to deal with the financial burden that is laden upon him, the emotional burden from not being around his children or being around his spouse, or even like the conflict that happens with the spouse, and the physical burden that all of that work takes on you. So the average person, the average male works right now 65-ish hours a week where I live. I'm sure that it changes for wherever you're at just to make ends meet. The price of everything in the world, as we all know, the inflation is going up, the dollar's tanking, the economy's just gone to shit. Interest rates are at 8.25 for prime. I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the world of man is going out the shitter right now, and there is a huge burden and a taxing burden that's being placed on men. And this started with the pandemic from my perspective for the overall. Now, statistics that matter. 70% more men kill themselves than women. Why is that? It's because they can't take the burden. Emotionally, men are disconnected with each other and with the world because if they become emotionally connected with others, they're expecting others to let them down and tear out their heart.
I think you have a whole lot of outliers there. I don't know if that was a fair statement. That
Good.
it's
I'm
that it's
I like the
just
challenge.
that it's just 100%, the guys that were out there trying to do their best and they felt like they couldn't. Because I feel like a lot of the guys that are out there trying to do their best just keep stabbing on. I think a lot of a lot of the suicide and stuff like that outside of the veteran community, and even I probably part of the veteran community, that's had that issue. I think that there's a lot of things going on, like obviously mental health issues,
Hmm.
drug use, alcoholism, all kinds of stuff. So I think there's a lot of supporting factors too. I don't see that it's just a bunch of men that were, head of household or trying to provide and do everything that they could and just couldn't take it anymore. I think there's I think that's probably the few, not the many.
So let me just jump in real quick. The highest rate of suicides for men, the age is about 28.1 years old. The highest demographic for male suicides
Hmm.
is white people. The suicide rate for men and women, age adjusted per 100,000, um, according to this, since 2021, suicide rate among males was approximately 4 times higher than the rate among females. Males make up 50% of the population, but nearly 80% of suicides.
Right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Oh,
that.
I'm just throwing
Uh,
out stats so that way we can have a, a logical conversation based off of that information. Because
fuck stats.
no,
You know that
man,
80% of statistics are made up.
did you make that one up?
I did.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that I don't know that the demographic that you're talking about, like the hardworking man that is, the provider and going out there doing his best all the time. I don't know that that's the guy that's taking care of himself the most. I think
Hmm.
that there's a whole lot of situations where you have outlying factors or something else that's influencing that decision. If we're, I think the veteran community is a little bit different, but
Hmm.
if we're talking about just, you know, people that never served or something like that, I feel like the demographic is a lot different.
So here's the actual list of risk factors for suicide for men. It's interesting because they put previous suicide attempts as the number one risk factor. So if we
Weird.
uh, all right.
Thanks,
History of,
guys.
yeah, so in order according to this it says previous suicide attempts, history of depression and other mental illness. So those two things
Okay.
you just
So
touched
mental
on,
health.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Serious illness or chronic pain, criminal or
Okay.
legal problems, job or financial problems or loss, impulsive or aggressive tendencies. That's an interesting one.
Doesn't that sound
So,
like mental health to you?
I mean, if you're impulsive and you're just like bam, clear your mind. That doesn't.
Like
I
you
don't
didn't
know.
think
That's
that
an
through.
no. And I don't feel like people are. Maybe they are. Substance abuse, current or prior history of adverse child experiences. A lot of these do fall in the mental health category.
Man, I'm
Uh,
telling you, I
sense of
don't.
hopelessness. How is this not all the same thing?
Yeah, I feel like
Violence, victimization, and or perpetration. Okay, so that is individual risk factors. So mental health and loss of job or finances or criminal legal problems and substance abuse. So really four areas. Relationship risk factors, bullying. What happened to the days where you could just punch your bully in the fucking mouth?
dude, I have a unpopular opinion based off of a professional theory.
Send
But
it.
we'll
No, no,
talk
send it.
about, do you want it now? Okay.
Does it
So,
relate to bullying?
yes,
Then send it.
it does relate to bullying. And part of the problem that so this theory and I'll look it up that way the next time I can bring it up and tell everybody who did the study, but it's based off of the reason society is the way it is today is because there is no bullying in schools and we've outlawed bullying.
I bet you it's.
And
I bet
the
you it's
re-
based on. Good. Good.
the
Sorry.
reason being is because even if you didn't have the bully that was stealing your lunch money or something like that, you still had these pockets of kids that were kind of bullies. You know, you had like your jocks and stuff like that. Some of them would bully and things like that. And so, you were afraid to show up to school with purple hair or green hair or, just random shit, right?
Hmm.
And now there's none of that. So these kids are like going through this huge identity crisis, but they have no fear of being made fun of or anything like that. But so like the thing goes, I'm not doing it justice, right? Because I'm paraphrasing,
Hmm.
but a lot of it had to do with there's no fear of reprisal or anybody being able to say something that's unpopular to you or that might be mean or hurt your feelings because
Hmm.
instantly it's considered bullying. Now, I'm not saying, the bullies that went out there and, tore your underwear into giving you a wedgie after class every day or, the right guys, but being able to go out there and have no reprisal for some crazy shit that you're doing and acting out on or um them not getting in or them getting in trouble for saying something that's against what you're doing, that is a problem. So my
Yeah.
unpopular belief is that yes, we do need some bullies.
So there was definitely a two piece to that, right? So when I was a kid, I had bullies. I was a smart kid, and I was also loud and whatever. I never had a group that I really fit into. Um, I had people that would bully me, and um, I just didn't take it. I didn't care. I said fuck you, and like the reality is when you have bullies, you learn that your feelings don't fucking matter to the world.
Right.
And they shouldn't matter to the world. The only person that should fucking matter is to you and your surrounding crew.
Right, but there's very few people. I feel like that I know and have talked to that have had bullies that didn't overcome their bully somehow, whether it be, a fight or, a
Oh yeah.
selfless act where they like helped the bully or something when the bully got hurt. And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, like this guy or gal is like, I'm going to protect you with my life forever. Or, just something happened, something extenuating happened where they got over the bully.
I think there's a piece missing in the world today, and this goes back to the burden of man and this being physical, right? It's the physicality of being a man and overcoming that. And like, don't get me wrong, like this can actually translate to all peoples. But there was a moment for me when I was constantly being made fun of because I used to have a flat top and my dad would made me wear straight legged Wranglers and tuck in shirts and I wasn't a cowboy. All the cowboys would mock me and all this shit when I was in elementary school and my dad was working three jobs to support the family and all this other shit. And one bully one day just fucking mouthed off at the wrong time and I punched that motherfucker right in the mouth. And guess what? He never did again. He
You
never
overcame
mouthed
it.
off.
You
Yeah,
overcame it.
absolutely. And I think you're right on that, dude. That's spot on. Like, I realized at a young age that my feelings don't matter to the world. They need to be
Right.
overcome by me.
Well, and like we both have kids that are in school, right? Like I have younger kids than you do.
Hmm.
The boat has young kids, but I think none of us want our kids to be bullies or be bullied.
Hmm.
But at the same time, isn't your job as a parent to help them overcome those types of situations
Yeah, it's
and
teaching. It's teaching your
equip
kids to
them
grow
with
that.
those
Yeah.
tools? Yeah, because not all little boys are going to grow up to be warriors.
No,
I'm sorry.
they're
Like
not.
and it has to do with, genetics and just the way your body's built and the way, you're mentally, you know, your mental capability. Um, so not everybody's gonna grow up to be, some big giant warrior, right? Um, or have the mental capacity to do that.
Y-
So,
Yeah,
there are some guys that are gonna be they're better suited for to be in school, do science, invent stuff.
yeah.
It's just the way
Run
it
the
is.
world. Yeah, run the world, if you
Yeah,
will. But there's physical people and there's mental people. Like, and together, if you can get those two groups of individuals to work together,
yeah.
that's a scary combo.
Oh yeah. And like, probably people looking at us now are like, those two are fucking warriors. Well, at once upon a time, and
Yeah.
it was the mental strength and everything, not just, not physical capacity. Because for being a Marine, I was small. I was
Same.
always up against like the 5'10" to 6 foot guys, you know, just
Dude, I went to boot camp
McMap
at,
sucked.
dude, fuck
Like I
man.
was always getting thrown over somebody's shoulder.
Dude, I went to boot camp at 145 pounds and came out at 185. Right? And
Yeah.
that's not even that big. I'm a
No,
lot bigger. I'm a lot
I
bigger now, but Jesus.
Yeah, and it was like I think I went in at 175 and came out at 185. And
Yeah.
I wasn't like a double rat or anything, but I everybody has different capacities. So I
Yep.
think kind of like the burden of men, I think a whole you're going to have a slew
It might
of
have to be a huge,
burdens.
yeah, it might have to be a series where we talk about our perspective on each of them.
Yeah, cuz I don't think you can really group it into one category, We could talk about the category of us and
Hmm.
like the burden that we take on or the things that we view as our burden and
Right.
things like that. But I think in general it's that's kind of a really hard one to generalize.
Maybe that's why there's so many light touched videos, but maybe what we should do then is let's start off with what we know before we go down a different path. Let me finish up these suicide risk factors for men. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and I'm sure a lot of these are transposed that go both ways, but I'd like to talk about maybe our group, the thing that we know the most, which is men like us. Okay.
Hmm.
And then we can branch out in the for the next few series about the burden of man in a different realm where we are observing, or from our perspective, different
Hmm.
groups of men. I think that might be a good little mini series inside of the podcast for mental health.
Yeah,
That
clearly we're learning as we go, folks.
Yeah, I mean 100%. And I think that's honestly, dude, out of all the things that, besides learning to communicate with you, which I've apparently forgot because I keep cutting you off. Um, it just takes 2 weeks to forget. Um, but clearly we are learning as we go, which makes I think that makes the podcast the most fun. I've learned so much stupid shit that if I went on a Jeopardy thing about dumbs or aliens or Sasquatch or fucking whatever,
I was
I'd be
dying last
fucking
week.
in.
I was dying last week. You're like, what the fuck? I think I know this shit, but how do you know this shit?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a real fucking thing. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Anyway, get back to the topic at hand, if you will,
Yes.
sir, ma'am. Um, so bullying so these are relationship risk factors. Bullying apparently causes suicides. I think there's some stuff behind that we can talk about. And
Yeah.
creating a toughness and understanding, teaching your children, and also speaking to your group, your friend group, your crew. And if you don't have a crew, you need to find a crew. As a man, your crew should not involve women. I'm sorry, it shouldn't. You should have a crew of men. You
Yeah.
should. You have to. You do not, like, you cannot lay things on the line with people of the opposite gender. And I'm talking about scientific genders, by the way. I'm not talking about fucking made up genders.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, so you have to understand that you have to have a crew of men that surround yourself, because they're the only ones that are going to know what it feels like to be in your shoes. This one actually hits home. Family loved one's history of suicide. You know, I have friends that had people that killed themselves in their family and then they took their lives. That sucks. Biggest I think influential factor for veterans is a loss of a relationship when you get home. You lose your spouse and she takes the kids and then she moves to fucking Arizona and then she moves to New Mexico, and you're holding the bag of financial loss, but more importantly, you're holding the bag of losing your children. And then you have to figure out a way to live. So I understand that one. That one's really quite high conflict or violent relationships. Um, I feel like there's a lot of mental health on that one. And then something that veterans do and men really focus on is social isolation.
I could see that one. And so your situation, which you didn't describe it, in depth at all there just a couple of seconds ago.
Oh, I was just light touching, bro. It's fine.
Oh,
Light touches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Don't keep
just
don't
just just nice little
don't
strokes.
social justice warrior me on this fucking bullshit.
No, I'm not. I was gonna
I
say that, it doesn't always take, losing your wife, your dog, your pickup, and your kids and writing a country song. You still have that social isolation and loss of relationships. At least I did coming back anyway. I still had
Mhm.
my wife, my wife, my dog, and my pickup truck, but I also had this social isolation, whereas in nothing. Bummer. One day. Uh, where you still have the social isolation because you are used to being around like a testosterone fueled and driven fucking war machine every fucking day,
Yeah.
and then being with your wife or significant other for like, you know 6 hours, or 4 hours, and then asleep, and then waking up and going and rocking out with your boys the rest of the time,
Mhm.
through and through, and then you come home and you're like, ugh, I have a regular job. I don't have any friends. I don't know what
I
happened to all my friends.
I
All my
have a
friends are gone.
boring regular job.
Yeah.
I sit here in an office, and there's a you probably haven't seen it because you've
Dudes that
never
don't
seen
even
it.
want a dude.
Yeah, you're sitting there in an office, and you're like in Joe versus the volcano, where you're like, I feel like these lights are sucking the life out of me, but you don't get that reference because you've never seen it, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody will. Somebody out there will.
Joe versus the volcano, bro.
But yeah.
It's a
So I mean,
great show.
you're literally nobody is saying fuck at work anymore. There's no threat of violence from somebody if you fuck up. Like you just,
Yeah,
you
it's
went
it's.
from hero to zero, and
Mm-hmm.
friends are gone, right?
And they're not even gone. I think that's the thing that we have to focus on with that. But it feels like they are. Because like, I moved out of Utah and like you're like, good luck, I'll never see you again. I remember you saying that to me. Good
Yeah.
luck, I won't see you again. I fucking talk to you more than I talk to like my parents.
Well, I think I've been to your house more since you've lived in Montana than when you lived out here too.
Yeah, fuck you too.
It was such a far drive. I swear to God, where you lived here felt like way longer of a drive than just going to Montana.
Well, also there's not like a really cool fucking ending of a beautiful view and majestical like
Yeah,
Elks's.
yeah, like peeing off the cliff is pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
solid.
but yeah, I mean, I told you about the two dudes that were like the most unlikely dudes to be there for me when I came home.
Mm-hmm.
That were there for me.
There's
But
Dan,
yeah, Dan and Troy.
Dan and Troy. Yep.
And
Too bad Dan doesn't listen to the podcast
I
because
think
he's
low
been.
key, I think low key he has a couple of times. He just won't tell you about it.
I know. Well, it's because he's got them brown toed boots.
Yeah, that's right. No
He's not.
risk of rolling his ankle at all.
No. That we don't have a risk of rolling our
Oh,
ankles.
I know, I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
looking at you,
um,
Dan.
right. So, but it still was kind of like socially isolating, though.
Hmm.
So dealing with that is mental health, and that comes into play, and then trying to find a job, trying to
Yep.
get your shit together, move back out of mom and dad's house after you've already moved back in with mom and dad, after living by yourself and
Being a free man.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, like traveling the world and being like, I did not know that there was this much smell in one fucking town. You're like, oh, I
Oh
smell
yeah.
barbecue and burning shit and fruit all in the same area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Dude,
that's
and they're literally like sweeping dog shit into watermelon.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that's yeah. And you're carrying guns all the time, so it's like having two dicks, except for one could kill somebody.
yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up. I actually, looking back, when I got home from Iraq, I didn't actually have any friends here or in Utah. Nobody rallied to the cause. They didn't want anything to do with me. I don't know why. I was probably just a douchebag. Probably at that time in my life, I was just not really worthy of that from my own perspective, which is also a burden. That's an emotional burden, right?
Well, and it comes back to like finding your dudes, finding your
Hmm.
pack.
Hmm.
But it I mean that shit doesn't just happen overnight, right? Like we say it, like find your pack, find your dudes, but
Yeah,
I mean this is like a long drawn out process.
yeah.
you,
We've
you
known.
gotta you gotta like it sounds super gay, but you gotta like fail it, your relationships, your dude relationships, so you can find
They're
your pack.
first off, call them situationships.
Situationships, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
no homo.
no homo at all. And if it is, fine. I don't give a shit. It's
Yeah,
Thursday
fuck it.
somewhere. I
Yeah,
don't give a
push
shit.
back.
Push
I know
back.
Thursday.
So let's talk about the burden of men from in our group. So
Okay.
carrying on that note, dude. So you and I have known each other since like in 2015, 2016,
Yeah, 15 or 16, something like that. Yeah.
right?
And we,
And
we keep
we
rehashing this, but I
I
don't
don't
fucking
actually
know.
I don't know. I want to put a
I
fucking
never
heart
committed
stamp
to
on it on
memory.
this.
Yeah.
I feel like
We'll
16
just,
is a good number.
all right. Yeah. I was going to say, we'll wait
Joe
3 years and call
Montana,
it 10.
2016.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay.
Shoot the J.
Yeah, shooting the J for 16. Okay, so here's the thing. So
I'm going to write
people
it down.
when they're around us, they think that we have been fucking brothers for eons
Mhm.
and eons, and it sometimes it feels like it. But we really didn't actually truly hang out and become family until about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw a lot of friends come and go on
Yeah,
each other, on each other's side, but yeah, we didn't
we didn't.
cohabitate that much.
No, like we would literally just we would hang out, and I'd come out to your house and I'd invite you out to my house. You tell me no, you had I don't know, you had to take a shower, you were
Yeah.
washing your hair,
Yes.
fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but like now we have a tight group, and our group is about 7 or 8 men strong. And some people think that's too big of a circle. But if you're in my fucking circle, like you're in my circle, I don't give a shit. And you have to
Well,
understand, and people have to understand, like there's no like limit. Like keep your circle small. I don't think that's right. I don't think that works. I think you invite people in, and they either sink or swim. You can still be their friend, but they don't have to be your circle.
yeah. Well, and the thing is too is like I think we more or less we started out with a, small circle, and we've always said, keep a small circle. And it's grown bigger and bigger and bigger. But everybody's always doing something different, right?
Yeah.
So when like magic happens and we all end up in the same place, then, shit's about to go off. Like when we all went up to Montana for Laurel, and we were all in the same place. It was insane. We had a great time.
It was super majestical.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I want everybody to know that I actually picked up that word majestical um
Is it
from
because
a
it's like a mixture of like testicle and majestic?
no, dude. You know the fat kid from uh Deadpool 2?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's in a show called We Are the Wilder People with the dude from the original Jurassic Park, Alan Grant, whatever his name is.
Hmm.
Anyway, it is one of the fucking funniest low key. It's like a Napoleon Dynamite in New Zealand, but better.
You watch some really weird shit.
Bro, people that just throw shit at me and I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like you fucking send me down rabbit holes. You have no fucking room to talk.
Well, that's different. That's
No,
knowledge based.
no, no, no,
Not
no.
sit on the
I
couch
have
and
been
drool
down
yourself.
so many fucking rabbit holes because of your ass.
How
No.
much have you learned though?
I have learned enough that I've lost value in my master's degree.
Telling you, dude. I told you
Right.
not to pay all that money.
Um,
The masters of life is what you needed in the
uh,
universe.
the masters of the universe and the master debaters.
Yes. I think we've always been master debaters.
Facts, facts. So in our, I'm gonna switch up here real quick. So I put this in on the agenda today for financial, emotional, physical. Um, I want to talk about today specifically the emotional impact that happens for a man and the trauma that happens over life. So I'm going to tell a story real quick. You might have heard the story, but maybe you haven't. Um, and this actually ties into two of these factors and how it's been a burden for me and how I'm working on overcoming it in my current life. So Um, stand by. You might actually learn something new about me, and I think you might be shocked.
I have my notepad right here.
Are you taking notes? I don't. That's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah. Well, it is notes on shit that I want to say later, but
Oh, fair
so
enough.
yeah.
I'm
I
surprised.
might
Okay.
I might get some gumdrops to toss down here.
Ooh, shit. Okay. All right. So I had a long moment of reflection recently. Um, I had some conflict that came up in my personal life that was literally driving a wedge in everything that I have fought for myself. And I had to sit and look at my past and identify pieces that have led me to where I'm at. So here's this interesting situation for me. I would rather find out that my spouse or partner is cheating on me versus them using me financially.
Okay.
And
That's kind
the
of weird.
is it? Well, here's the
I
thing,
mean,
right?
if I guess if that's their sole purpose with being with you, then that's one thing. But
So I went back through my relationships, my major relationships, barring the one that I'm currently in. Okay. And my first relationship, I was married at the age of 18 in high school. And for all my friends that listen, you guys all remember this. I had to drop out of high school my second half of my year and do packets or night school, right?
yeah, those were fun.
Yeah, super fun. So I was working three jobs as a married man in high school trying to support my kid and my wife. My wife at the time said that she could not go get a job because the burden of being pregnant was too much. Now, listen, I am not a woman. I am not going to pretend to be a woman. I am not going to tuck back today. I am not going to do those things.
Pussy.
However, there are many women that continue to work, such as your wife, while they're pregnant.
Hmm.
I was an 18-year-old kid that had no path in life forward, nothing. Fast forward a year before the year that I enlisted, I was working five jobs while she got to quote unquote work at home with our daughter. And don't get me wrong, raising a child is definitely work, but not at 6 months old.
How did you have time for five jobs?
It was one full-time job and four part-time jobs that had 2 days a week each,
Mm.
or 2 days a week for, yeah, 2 days a week each, except for the paper route that I had every day.
Got it.
Right. And
Just
I
wanted
was,
to clear that up.
yeah, I was like, so I was working at, I think I worked at Maverick and Hollywood Video, rock back to the
Oh,
past.
nice.
Paper route. I was a tire buster slash apprentice at Firestone, and I can't remember my fifth job. Was it Target? It might have been Target. I don't know, but I only worked like 1 day a week for that job. I don't. It was either Target or Albertsons. I can't remember. Um, but I was working all of those jobs back to back to back, and I would get home and be exhausted, and she'd be like, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" And it was, I don't have any energy. Oh yeah, I'm tired too. I had a rough day hanging out at the house, like watching my child lay in a bed and cry, and then picking them up and hanging out with my child, our child. And that to me was super frustrating. Then I moved to my next relationship. My next relationship, um, this person uh used all of my post 9/11 GI Bill except for like 4 days.
Dang,
Um,
I can't believe you gave that away.
well, I thought that you're in love, you think they're the one, before you become where I'm at now. And they used all of that. And then when I was deployed, I gave that person power of attorney because we were married. Second marriage, by the way. And I gave that person, pardon me, I still have a fucking lingering cough, dude.
Dude, so do
So
I. It's been like 2 weeks.
it's fucking annoying. It's been like three for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Um,
it's dumb.
so I gave that person power of attorney, and I had a retainer for my children, like to battle for my children, and she used it to win custody in which of her children, in which she then later lost. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you used this, you became a nurse, you did all these things. And then, like, my final straw with that person was when we were sharing a bank account. And, unfortunately, she made the choice to purchase only her children for presents for Christmas. And that was the end of it for me.
No,
Right. And I actually had an employee when I was working at the Tire Hunter. Um, and I'll never ever be able to repay this debt as a grown man, but but I want to. But he sold his Christmas presents his mom bought him and gave me money to buy presents for my daughters because I didn't have anything. You knew me at the end of that time, right at the end of the time.
That's crazy.
Um, then the next person completely used me financially. You met that person,
Hmm.
right? Terrible person. That is what it is. And even the person in between those two, which was not really a serious relationship, waited to break up with me after our check for the apartment had cleared, and she was the name on the apartment, and I was living there, and so she waited for my check to clear. So I feel like, and the reason why I'm telling this story is not to point out that all these terrible things happen from these people, because you know a lot of them may have changed, and I have no ill will toward them, but it's created this mantra in my heart where I experience in relationships a a different level of understanding. Financial burden for me is super hard.
I, th-
I
I, th-
take it personal.
well, I think that you're a solid example of a whole lot of fucking bad shit and with one person, and
Hmm.
you made it out on the other side.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I had a lot of let's make sure that we all understand this real quick. I made a series of terrible decisions, and that was my fault. What with
Right.
everybody.
I'm just saying, like, as far as, you know, just if you can make it out alive, everybody can make it out alive, right?
Thanks. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Because the things that happen to you and the mental impact that those things, had or could have had on you, and you still made it out on the other side, right? So
Hmm.
I think that's a storming example of, you know, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
I had a
It,
mantra during that entire time, which is awesome to piggyback off what you're saying. And I still kind of hang on it a little bit, but now I've changed a little bit. But it was you can have a bad day, but you can't have a bad week. And if you have a bad week, you can't have a bad month. If you have a bad month, you can't have a bad year. And if you have a
it's
bad year, you can't have a bad
it's
decade.
it's like yeah, like it's damn near the same mantra as I had like for the Marine Corps, right? Going in is you can do anything for 5 minutes, right?
Hmm.
And
Damn
that
near
just gets you
anything.
through. Yeah, you do fucking anything for 5 minutes, dude.
Damn near
And
anything.
yeah, I mean, it's damn near.
Damn near anything. I I don't think that I could. There's a couple of items I don't think I could do for 5 minutes. Like I couldn't suck a dick for 5 minutes.
I think you probably could.
No, man, I couldn't.
If there
And
was
this,
like a lot of money on the line, I feel
I'm
like you could.
listen. Everybody has a
Either
dollar figure.
either you're gonna
Everybody
get
has
it
a.
either you're gonna get it done before 5 minutes because you're so good at it, or you're just gonna stay and linger to make sure that you get your money.
Listen, we
Oh, hey,
all
Bo.
know. Oh, hey, look, there's my dog. Hello,
There's the Bo.
hello, the bow. Go, no, go away. Sorry, go lay down. Sorry, folks. There was a guest appearance, a cameo, if you will, by
The
Bodolph
Bobo.
himself. The Bobo. Anyway, so I think
I
that I would
think
probably suck a dick just like most ladies do. I would just like put a little spit on it and kind of a little bit at first, and then just up and down with your hand and pretend with your mouth open.
right. So you thought about this, then. You thought about how you were gonna get that
Well,
$1 billion
I
with
was
a
on a lot
blowjob.
of I was on a lot of 14-hour missions where you're stuck in a truck looking for bombs. There's not much to talk
You're
about after
like,
like the
hey,
first
bro,
month.
what's the smallest number you would do?
Yeah. And I refer to Donnie O'Malley. Like my smallest number currently is exactly, $587,321. Tax free.
Right.
Tax free.
Oh no, it's like what was that what was the question? It's great. I got the face with this one. I said, would you rather suck I said for $1 billion, would you rather suck the same dick 10 times or 10 dicks or 10 different dicks? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, probably the same dick, 10 times. And it was a Donnie O'Malley thing too. And he goes, I was like, oh, dude, that's super gay. And he's like, why? I was like, because the
You're
same dick
committed.
10 times?
You're
I'm like, that
committed.
means you have some kind of relationship,
Yeah,
right?
you're
If it's,
snuggling
and
afterwards, whatever
he's
you're
like,
doing. No, yeah, fuck that.
and he's like, you set me up, you son of a bitch.
No, man, 100%. It's 10 different dicks. Why?
Yeah,
Because then I'm just a whore.
yeah, yeah. Then it's just, I was just trying to get my money, man. I was just trying to get my
That's
$1 billion.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's same dick 10 times. Now you're
yeah,
you're you're pot committed, if you will.
yeah. You're in a relationship, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Situationship.
Yeah.
So what?
Anyway,
Anyway, so here we are back to where we were,
and we're back.
and we're back. Um, so with that final financial breakdown, that thing that I told you, so that actually ties to an emotional connection for me, where I have the hardest time in any relationship discussing finances. I don't want to discuss finances with anybody. I'm like, here's your piece of the pie. You pay your fucking piece of the pie, and I'm going to pay my piece of the pie. Here's your hobby. You do whatever the hell you're going to do. Don't ask me for help with it because I'm not going to help with it. And I'm
Mhm.
going to do my thing. And it's really hard because I feel that's a burden that I've carried and a burden of man. I feel like also, though, with the men in my life, that translates in a lot of ways. Now, am I saying that everybody's had the same experience in our group? No, I'm not. But everybody's had experiences that you can at least sort of relate to. Maybe not one to one, but you can understand it. And you've seen relationships like that. And you've seen situations like that.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
you are probably the outlier in that group.
I am definitely the minority in
Yeah.
that.
I think you are the outlier. Well, you and and Tro are probably the outliers.
Yeah, I definitely, we've always had our pots of money together,
Yep.
right? So, I mean, each other, we can always see what each other's doing and stuff like that. Not that we ever care, but
Yeah.
when your wife is like, don't go spend $1,000 on golf clubs, you know, and there's $1,000 left, well, you probably shouldn't go buy $1,000 worth of golf clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think we've both taken a pretty, I would say her more than me, as far as like financial responsibility goes.
Hmm?
Because I want to do dumb shit. But she's
Man.
like, yeah, she's like, don't do dumb shit. I'm like, all right, how about a little bit of dumb shit? She's like, okay, you know, she'll let me
Y-
have a little bit of fun. Then just,
Solid.
just yank it back,
Yeah.
but not get too off the rails.
Well,
But we're
I
definitely the outliers
yeah,
when it comes to
definitely. And
that.
yeah, you and Tro are probably outliers, but if you were to talk to the overall group, all of us would probably say that we've had our run-ins like with that situation. I mean, you and the missus, y'all have been together for how many years now?
It'll be 13 years next month.
Yeah, and you just barely turned 35. Happy birthday, you old fuck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Middle medium fuck.
Yeah, it's like I told her that I should be going through my midlife crisis right now, right? Because the average age is like 70, maybe a little over 70 in the US, right?
I thought it was like 84.
Is it? So I gotta wait a little bit for the midlife crisis?
Bro, I
Don't
have to wait
don't
still.
don't tell her.
I'm looking it up right now.
Me too.
Boom.
Did you find it?
Uh, looks like 73.8 years.
See?
Maybe close though.
So,
Yeah, I'm actually on
you
point.
know,
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit,
yeah, I'm
you know.
gonna say, we're both pretty close.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't hear any of what you said. Did you yell into the mic?
Um, um, Puppies being
Oh yeah.
puppies.
Oh okay. Yeah, yeah. I just saw your lips moving. I was like, wait, what? I can't hear you.
Oh yeah, no,
You
it's
gotta
fine.
get closer to the screen
Yeah,
so I can hear, even though I have headphones.
even though, yeah, like wait, what?
Yeah. Hey, wait, what?
It's like the
Wait a
Cracket
second.
phones. The Cracket phones. Is Cricket still around?
Oh yeah, dude. Totally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. But yeah, dude. So we're not very far off. So maybe like 37.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a
So
solid
so
midlife crisis. So I gotta wait a
I
couple
made over the
years. You're
hump.
past it. Yeah.
Oh man, I miss my Miata.
You started a company for your midlife crisis.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking smart. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
Super
It's
smart.
it's so you can retire with like a Miata.
I am super getting a Miata. Hey, racing tomorrow. Racing for
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Racing for tomorrow. By the way,
Yeah.
they have a
I
fucking
want to
sweet
ride in my
Miata.
I want to ride in the Miata. Um and we've been kind of all over this. I think what we need to do on this is we need to really look at this in that kind of breakdown. But there is a men's burden in each of those realms in every friend group, I believe. Um,
Yeah, and I think like the responsibility of a good like friend group or like man group
mhm.
is to give like bad advice.
Yeah, like go do that thing. Go ride
Yeah,
that bull.
yeah,
Looking at
yeah,
you, Robert.
yeah, yeah. Not gonna mention any names or anything. Robert Rice.
Yeah. Go ride that bull. You know that you are already broken in your knees, but you know
Yeah,
what? It's fine. Totally fine.
yeah.
Nothing will happen.
Break a hip, fella.
Yeah, bro. I mean, good luck.
Yeah, I think that's like I know we joke about it, right? Like that's a joke. Don't give your friends bad advice. But if you do, make sure that they don't get hurt too bad.
Yeah. So, I think let's do this. For the audiences listening, obviously we've just worked through a lot of stuff. We're learning as we go too. We're trying to be better at the world. Like we're trying to help provide guidance and flow for these things and how to be a man. And for us, we just do the things we do naturally. And then when we have a problem, we call each other and it's fucking all hands on deck, right? It's like
Yeah.
let's fucking go, right?
Yeah,
When
I
there's
mean,
an issue.
by no means do we have it figured out, right?
No. But what we'll do, here's the promise. So let's break this down into probably like a 4 or 5 part series. So this was the intro. Solid intro, by the way.
Yeah, if you could like follow this intro, then
Yeah. I mean, we
yeah,
touched on a lot.
yeah, like we
But
touched a lot of things.
we touched all the things
Yeah,
on the doll,
all of it.
all of it. Um, I think it's really important to understand your burden and how it affects you though, regardless of the situation and how
Yeah, and
you communicate it to your partners.
and like you were kind of saying too, like everybody's burden is a little different.
Yeah, they're way
So
different.
yeah, so some of some of it's a financial burden. Sometimes that's bigger than other things, and
Mhm.
sometimes there's a whole other slew of factors.
And on the financial burden thing for me is I realize that I adversely react. I react way bad on it. So I have to find a mitigating process
Hmm.
to to really address it. And people are like, "Oh, you wouldn't respond as bad if somebody cheated on you?" Not listen. Let's make sure that we understand there's very varying degrees of bad, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, if
if you
somebody's like sole source with you for financial gain, yeah, that's pretty bad, you know.
yeah. And by the way, just for clarity, listen, I'm not discounting moms that stay home from work and things like that. But when your husband has 5 jobs, it's not the same.
Right, you could probably do something. Probably help
Right?
out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
start a daycare,
start a I don't know, a Scentsy shop.
right? Well,
Sell
like,
candles or whatever.
and on the flip side too, like there's those moms out there that are out there hooking and
Fucking killing it.
jabbing and fucking,
Yep.
dad's sitting home not doing shit.
Yeah, I agree. It goes both ways. And
Does.
people, there's definitely probably women out there that have experienced a similar situation as me.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and I'm not going to be able to speak to those terms because I've never had a boyfriend except for you, and
Thanks,
you've never
boo.
done me dirty.
Thanks, boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely women that have gone through it, right?
yeah,
So we can't discount it that it goes the other way because it definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like those women with like the bad picker, you know, that instead of picking like, you know, the best friend that's always treated him right and took care of him,
Mm-hmm.
they like hook up with the drug dealer that doesn't have a car and lives in his mom's house.
Well, it's like
And
that song by Zach Bryan, Oklahoma Smoke Show. She's an Oklahoma Smoke Show, and he's an asshole back home.
right. Or
Like,
like that song from the beloved Offspring, Pretty Fly for a
oh,
White Guy, you know?
I actually thought you were gonna go somewhere completely different. I thought you were gonna talk
I
about
like I like
my
to
f-
really
my friend has a girlfriend, man. He hates that bitch.
I mean there's that one too, but
I mean,
I
pretty, pretty.
wanted to take it and I wanted to like hard left.
That wasn't even like that. Doesn't even not. That's just not relatable.
Just blew your fucking mind.
You
Whatever,
didn't
because
blow.
it's that guy.
You didn't fucking.
It's that guy. It's the pretty fly for a white guy.
No, man. That was the guy who fucking overcame his bullies.
No, no, no. Dude,
100%.
dude,
He got a tattoo. I know.
he did.
It
He got the
it it,
tattoo.
it was a
He asked for
31,
a 13,
but it was a
but he got
30,
a 31.
31. Yeah.
Yeah. Even his
Yeah.
friend said he's trying too hard.
But he's not too hip.
Yeah.
But in
But
his
in
own mind, he's the dopest trip.
the dopest.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Where were we going?
At this point, we might as well just talk about fucking paranormal shit.
Yeah, I think uh
It's a solid conversation though.
yeah, to wrap that up, put a bow on it.
Magnum.
Just fall right off.
It's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the
I
beard.
I think that definitely to be, no matter what your burden is, you're gonna get through it. You're gonna figure it out.
I agree.
You're gonna,
Stay tuned for more.
yeah,
We'll have a more structured burden conversation next week, I think.
yeah. I
Oh,
what
on that note
what
though, on that note,
yeah.
you're gonna have to run a podcast by yourself.
No,
Yeah.
we'll just do two while you're in Africa.
Oh yeah.
I
No.
think you should do a live stream from Africa. Get our
So that way
TikTok numbers up.
everybody that's asleep cannot be watching because it's 9 hour difference.
Oh, dude, we'll have a totally people in Africa will know who the Bearded Viking is all of a sudden.
Yeah. So they speak. Interesting fact. They speak English. The Queen's English.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Afrikaan.
Hmm.
I cannot wait to learn what the fuck that means. Uh,
I don't
I
know,
think
man.
it's rubles. They have
No,
rubles
that's
there.
Russia.
Is it rubles? It's I got it. I'm already on it.
So back to our bow, wrapping it up. Definitely, I want to put out there another unpopular opinion,
Hmm.
especially about suicide, right? We do this for mental health, and it's gonna definitely make some people mad,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it is definitely, and I like me way too much to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I get suicided, it was probably Clinton's. Um, I think it's
Yeah.
selfish. I think it's a selfish act. So
I
what I do want to say is be selfless, not
yeah.
selfish. There's always a reason to stay around.
Who gave you the wand of fucking enlightenment this week?
Just saying, I've been writing stuff down.
I don't even know who you are anymore. By the way, it's a rand, and I do like
It's a
that
rand. It is a rand. Okay.
rand. It's like a Ryan Rand,
Like a
but
Ryan Rand, yeah.
Rand,
Yeah.
Randalicious. Um, so for me, I agree with you. Be selfless. I also feel like there's a second part of this. I feel like suicide is selfish sometimes, most of the time, probably most of the time. Sometimes there's no way out for people. I'm not
I think
justifying it. They feel there's no way. There's
they
no way
they
out.
they feel that way. They feel that way, I think, because they feel like they're on an island, but I feel like it's always It's I feel like it's a selfish act because there's always somebody there that has to clean up.
On the flip side, too, from somebody who put a gun in his mouth and tasted it, it was, I think my kids will be better without me. So people may think that they're being selfless. They don't realize the impact that they actually have. And there's a lot to that. There's a lot of ogre level of onions.
Yeah.
Ogres are like onions on that. And we should totally unwind those in the future. So let's wrap that up. But I did
Okay.
talk about ogres, which are basically giants. We're coming back to my fucking favorite.
It's like a swamp monster.
No, man, ogres, bro, are
Okay.
like onions, and onions are eaten by giants. So therefore, here we go.
I don't even know what the fuck just happened there.
Listen, all right. So I am excited about this week because I don't
All
have
right.
to talk about fucking aliens anymore.
I
Um,
feel like you like aliens though.
I don't mind it, but it was good series, but at the same time, I was just not educated enough to keep up with your ass.
Oh, that's what it was. It was an education thing. It's because you got
Yeah,
your master's in the wrong thing.
yeah, because they don't have a master's in fucking ufology. Ufology. Um, Hi, welcome to Vikings, Owls, and Cowboys, where we make up our fucking words as we go along.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have our own dictionary. We do this long enough.
All right, so check this out. I have been so I think my favorite and most plausible is Sasquatch, but closely thereafter is giants.
Okay.
Now, this week's episode of this week's clip for paranormal stuff is all about giants. All about giants, but more than what we've done in the past. We like touched on it. We talked about the giant of Kandahar. We talked about the giant that was up in Jasper National Park. But and we talked about Lovelock Cave. Is it Lovelock?
Mm-hmm.
Lovelock
Yeah,
Cave,
I
yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah. Uh we talked about those things. But here's the latest and greatest, okay? So, this ties into many things we've talked about. And it's very interesting to me. So I was just in a rabbit hole on Reddit, and I don't believe half the shit I read on Reddit because this cough won't go away.
Right.
Um,
It's very
yeah,
irritating.
it's super irritating. But at the same time, I I was in this rabbit hole, and I started cross-referencing things from like let's say like YouTube, but also like other like 17th pages of Google and whatnot. So I'm going to reference the term government, but let's understand that there is a world government, the dark side that we talked about with Stephen Greer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's understand with Stephen Greer that there is even more, right? To that. Um, that it's not just pacts with aliens. It's this entire giant government I'm hiding shit thing is tied to aliens, so extraterrestrials, initial terrestrials, so beings that were here before us, and then also keeping us and our like minds. And I've got the hater blockers on today. I don't know if you noticed that because it's Shades Friday.
It is Friday. So we doing
Um,
Friday.
so we've got the the long-term terrestrials here, right? And then we have the paranormal. And that government entity is keeping us from all of this stuff. Here's the thing. In this statement, not only did that hidden government make a pact with aliens, but they made a pact with giants. Now, the boat referenced very lightly the dome underneath the Denver airport. There is a lot of leaked information in which there are caverns that are so tall that a regular human couldn't have carved it even with like the things that we have right now. So they've been made, and there's a pact with the Niflheim.
It's
Eh,
Nephilim.
Niflheim is
It's
how I
Nephilim.
say it. No,
It's
it's
not
how I
it's
say it.
not Viking. It's
It's not
Nephilim.
Viking. Hold on. Vikings or the Norse, they fought frost giants. They were here before you and
Yeah.
I.
They were frost giants. They called them frost giants, not Nephilim.
No, they literally called them Nephilim.
I'm not seeing that anywhere.
Well, you have not seen it.
I just said I hadn't seen it.
I mean, whatever. Anyway, so we'll go with we'll call him a Nephilim. It's a combination between me and you.
That's just, you're just saying exactly what you said.
No, I said Niffle. I
I
can say
think you need
Nephilim.
I think
I
you
can
need to
say
look up
Nephilim.
the phonetic saying of Nephilim.
Listen, hooked
Anyway,
on phonics didn't work for me. Anyway, so here's the
tomatoes,
thing.
tomato.
So there's a belief out there that there's a thing that tied Antarctica in to all of this stuff, right? Antarctica is where the origin of the giants actually started, the hole in the ground. The giants came up out and they were moving across things, across the landmass, quote unquote, known as Pangea, and they prospered, right? And in every single religious text, there's always a reference to a giant. So you had, who's the dude who threw the freaking rock at the giant?
Goliath, David and
Yeah,
Goliath.
David and Goliath, right? You have the frost giants in the um, obviously the Norse belief. You have references to Titans in Greek mythology. You have references to giants in Native American belief systems, and you have references to giants in pretty much every single belief system out there. So here's the crazy thing, right? So there's this complete understanding that the giants created this pact with that underlying weird government, and they needed a place to go to hide. So they're underneath the Denver airport. And the Denver airport is like the central for the MIB, where they keep in extraterrestrial, original terrestrial, and paranormal shit all in check as much as they can. We're totally against suicide, by the way. I'm not. I
I
don't want to kids suicide. Suicide.
I don't think that that would even be a logical place to have something like that.
There is so much research about it though out there. You need to go check it out. Now
I'm
this
looking
is
right now and there's nothing.
no. You're on the regular web. You
You're
need to go
on
to a different web.
you're on TikTok.
No. No. Sometimes ideas start there, but then I go into the other realms, and I don't like to go to the other realms because like it
I
starts and it goes down the dark rabbit hole. If you
even
get
on
me.
Reddit, I so that like you got to be careful with Reddit too
Hmm.
because Reddit is there's a whole lot of people that do that LARP on there and
Oh,
like
oh yeah.
trying to deduce fact from fiction. um I don't think well, I've never heard and I definitely don't think that that's what's going on in Denver because I do think that like we were saying last time uh when we had the boat on that when he brought up Denver,
Hmm.
I think that there's definitely some alien shit and some domes, some underground bases there. But to me, it doesn't make sense to have like the Giants or Men in Black or anything there. I think there's definitely giants that roam North America or Nephilim that roam North America because there's there's burial mounds back east. There's burial mounds in Central America. There's burial mounds pretty much all over
Hmm.
the United States. But I don't think that that would be a very logical place to do any kind of like MIB or anything like that because it is it's 35 40 minutes away from a major metropolitan area, but it's all flat, right? So if there was a ship that was landing It wouldn't make much sense to land there.
Well, here's the thing, right? So let's go back to your theory of the tunnels, which are known now, right?
Right.
So
Did I
so
send you that, by the way? The tunnel map?
no, you didn't. You failed.
Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. Finish. I will send right now.
So I'm not saying that they enter in through the Denver airport, right? But what I am saying is that the government has made a pact with the Giants, and they were buried in Nevada, and and killed, quote unquote, killed by the Paiute and the Ute nations, right? And I am saying, but what I am saying that the giants that are around have an agreement. Now they have rogue giants that escape through these underground tunnels, like in Jasper National Park, or over in Kandahar, or the one that was in recently sighted in South Africa, or the one that was sighted like a few years back in along the up in the not the Himalayas, the like in Mongolia, right? So they do escape out of those pieces and they move and they wander, right? Um, I'm saying that it would make sense with the most technologically advanced airport that we had at the time when it was built, that that would be a central location for maybe call it customs, right? And I'm saying like that makes the most sense to me. Not because like aliens are landing there. Aliens are landing in Dugway, and if you go off of what you said, and what the truth is with those underground maps and those underground tunnels and all those things, and you can travel by train or whatever, and it's as a train that travels at 500 miles an hour or more in the
Over. Yeah, that's
over, yeah.
be like a thousand
So
miles per hour.
yeah, so they're gonna be there in fucking moments. It makes sense.
Right, but what doesn't make sense is the height, right? Like the height differential is for a Nephilim, right, was anywhere between 15 feet tall
Mm.
and 50 feet
Yeah,
tall.
it was eight to, sorry, let me clarify. Nephilim is considered 8 feet to 50 feet. Now, there's different species of them, no difference than like
So
Homo erectus and Homo
I just
sapien.
I disagree 100% on there's different species of them. They all come from the same thing. And I guess the most prominent belief of them would be that they're the offspring of fallen angels. It's Book of Enoch type stuff right there. I don't know what the Viking variant would be, whether it's just a different realm or what it is, but the I think most common is that they are, the sons of fallen angels.
So there's a list of giants in mythology and folklore that's listed on Wikipedia. We all know that that's just what it is. Giant mythology on the Encyclopedia Britannica. The term derives from Latin. So let me read this real quick because I want to make sure that this makes sense. So in giant folklore, huge mythical beings, usually human-like in form, the term derives from Latin from the giants or gigantus of Greek mythology. Um, get out of here, dog. Sorry, got a dog trying to chew on my hand. In Norse mythology, um, as I die, holy cow. They were primeval beings existing before the gods and overcome by them. In European medieval times, towns often had tutelary giants. I want to know what that word means. Whose effigies were carried in procession. Um, in most European tales, giants appear as cruel and stupid, given to cannibalism, and oh, God, you die.
Nah,
and often one-eyed, which very much represents like a
like a
cyclops, right?
cyclops. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I think that was
it
just some. I think that was just like a Nephilim that got like a spear to the eye, got an eye put out,
probably.
or he shot
It,
himself in the face with a BB gun.
yeah, in Greek mythology, Orion is a very handsome giant who carries his piece. So it's all across the entire realm of
Right.
every
I
religion
understand that. I'm just saying, like the origin, like the most commonly accepted origin of them
is a fallen angel.
is no, it's the offspring of a fallen angel.
Well, what I'm
It's when an fallen angel or the fallen bred with human women. So obviously they didn't make it out alive, but the Nephilim did. That that goes along with like the flood stories and everything else. One of the reasons why God flooded the earth and started
well,
trying
there's
to
a
extricate these weird creations and things like that that men had created and that the fallen had created for
there
mankind.
there is definitely a weird there's definitely a lot of similarities between the different religions, right? Because every religion, man, this is killing me today. As you die too, bro.
Right.
There's definitely a lot about this that is just unknown. So, all right, so we disagree about Giant Son of the Denver Airport.
Right. I think that
Do you
it doesn't make sense to me because a small giant, okay, let's say for sake of argument, a small
10
giant
feet?
runs 10, yeah, 10 feet, 10, 15 feet. That's a small guy. A big guy is 50 feet or 100 feet, right? So even shoving a 15-foot something into a tube with a train that is going 1,000 miles per hour,
Oh,
and
so
when the
I probably
tube
should
is pressurized,
I should probably change the educate you a little bit more from the information that I saw before. So
are they
I'm
just
not.
walking around down there?
Yeah, they carve their own paths.
Right. I,
So
I
they
was
have their.
picking
Go ahead.
I was picking that up. I was picking up what you were putting down about that as far as
So
like carving their own paths and using caves and everything because
so
that
they have
kind of
like
goes
their
along
own.
with.
They have their own utopia down there, basically. Not utopia, but like they have their own like dome, if you will. Think of like the Hunger Games, right? Where they have like not really the Hunger Games where they're like trying to kill each other or whatever, but like they have their entire sphere, or like the Truman Show, right? Where there's an
Mhm.
entire sphere that's inside, which we also might be in the Truman Show anyway. Um, but like these guys have been given the keys to the castle, if you will, and say, hey, listen, you guys can make everything under here, and we'll supply you with power because there's like so much power that and 0 point energy and all this other shit that's been stolen by the feds, anyways, right? So they have their entire underground realm that they live in that they've carved out, and the pact is basically like, you know, they're they're not savages, they're not anything like that. They're extremely smart. That they help humanity's or the people in charge of humanity, if you will, and their inhibitions move forward. They help drive those forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I call bullshit on all that
I
with like
don't.
them being benevolent.
No. The pact is in place. It's not benevolent. They had like humanity said, we will kill you if you don't do this. This is our agreement. You help us. This is a this for that thing. This is a quid pro quo.
I don't know.
Because
I
they're not invincible. Native
no,
Americans
that
killed them.
right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like I just based off of like the history that we know, right? The history that we're told,
Hmm.
we don't have a good track record of making pacts with things that we could annihilate.
No, 100%.
right?
I'm on the
You
same
know what
page
I
with you.
mean?
Well,
Like aliens, that makes sense because they could just come fuck us up if they're more technologically advanced, right? So if our space force isn't big enough, if we're 7,000 strong and they come in 50,000 strong, with ships and stuff like that,
you're
it's
not
just
holding the
it.
line. You're not
Yeah,
holding the line.
yeah,
Hold,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. You're gonna have to go recruit. It's Starship Troopers time. But yeah, I don't think our track record is good enough with races that we can annihilate, or even animals for that matter, to be like, yeah, you guys can dig holes. We're gonna give you power and stuff
Are
like
you
that, but you
are
gotta
you
lift some heavy rocks.
you're not referencing the emu invasion of Australia, are you?
No,
Where the Australian army lost 2 times in a row to emus?
dude, those are some squirrely fucking animals, dude. So,
Nah, listen. No.
have you ever rode one?
I, no, but I totally would.
It'd be fucking awesome.
I don't think our fat asses could actually fit on one. They'd die.
Nah, fuck that. Got this. Anyway,
Okay.
I
No.
mean, their legs are like that big around. But yeah, I don't think it doesn't. I don't know. It's not jiving with the logic for me
I'm gonna
when
send
you
you a
think
bunch
about it
of
like that.
I'm just gonna send you a bunch of fucking links
Okay.
that I found. And maybe it changes your mind, maybe it doesn't, but this is fine because it's this is the my favorite part about this. All right, so moving on to the next segment. The real at the end of the day, there's a question to me is so you have a half breed in your mind of a fallen angel. For me, it's just a different thing that was already here. Um, is a squatch a half breed between a human and a giant?
Nah, I think it's totally something different.
You think so? Well, let's analyze that. Let's break that down real quick.
Because
So,
you have a squatch
what is the
who's
color of the squatch's hair?
obviously got a dog dick. Brown, black, or red.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I have red in my beard, and it's mostly black, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not fully covered in hair, and a Nephilim isn't fully covered in hair. A Nephilim is supposed to historically have 6 fingers and on each hand, and 6 toes on each hand.
Excuse me, sir. Can you show me your left hand? Does it have 6 fingers on it?
This one doesn't.
Hmm. It's too bad.
Yeah, no. So
My name is Inigo
that's
Montoya.
right. But so I'm saying that I still think that it's like a trans-dimensional thing. I think it's something from somewhere else.
So I actually am open-minded, and this is one of those things where you can't disprove a negative, right? You can only prove a positive.
No,
It's
you
a really
can. Did we mention dog dick? It's got a dog dick. We already went over this.
I
Man,
told you. I
man,
told you.
nor
I think it has.
Nephilim have dog dick.
I think it has a man dick.
I think it's got a dog dick, dude.
I
Somebody
think
would have been
it's.
like, "Holy shit, I saw a squatch and had a huge dick." Nobody's ever said that. Not once.
I just don't think so.
Dog
Um.
dick.
Anyway, man dick. So agree to disagree on that.
You're a
We've
dick.
already. I am. You can agree on that one. It's fine. Um. So here's the thing, right? So we have so much, so much of our history is written by whoever won whatever battle.
Yeah, the victor, man.
Yeah. The problem is, and even with like say the like the Bible for everybody who's Christian out there, that was written by King James and he left out what, like 30 books?
No, that's
It wasn't
not
written,
the
it was
King King
edited. Is
King
edited by King James.
King James is basically just the New Testament. So when you're talking about giants and Nephilim and everything like that, you're going like Old Testament on that shit.
Well, but
And
it doesn't matter because he still left out a ton of books like the Book of Enoch and all these other things, you know?
yeah, but I think the Book of Enoch is what describes it and goes into depth the most about giants especially, or
Giants and
Nephilim.
angels and demons and all the things.
Hmm.
So I want to,
But
from my perspective,
was it King James that left it out, or was it the Catholic Church? That's a
look,
whole nother freaking spiral.
yeah, absolutely, it is. So, so I would say to be honest with you, I feel like they're not necessarily a half breed, and I also don't discredit the fact that giants, Niflheim, um, haven't or aren't transdimensional either. I feel like if you discount one, you have to discount all of them because we don't know where they go or how they
Well,
disappear.
I think you can, because you can definitely say they're from different places, right? Because you have the Hebrews that talked about Nephilim, right? That's
Hmm.
way before the Christian beliefs or anything like that, right? That's like old Jews.
Yeah, but
So,
you also have in the
but
same
you don't,
same breath, you also have like, the Himalayan people, the Mongols, you have the Chinese, you have people in Africa, and you have the Native Americans that all talk about Sasquatch. That's
right? But that's
old.
like generations, though. Generations after, I think.
I don't think so. I think the hieroglyphs that were written and drawn in the Himalayas, which were are way closer to the oldest people, or have been found. Like I don't think that that's different.
I do,
I
because so like there's a whole lot of, if they're gonna date stuff like that, that means they
well,
have to carbon date stuff like that.
but we
And carbon dating is super
questionable.
questionable. Yeah. So,
So
I mean, we're definitely on the same page with that. And it kind of goes to that show that we were talking about, the Ancient Apocalypse.
yeah,
And that's saying that all this shit happened 11 to 12,000 years ago,
no
right?
way, not a fucking possibility. No
I
way.
think it is. I think it makes perfect sense.
No, no, no. It's older than that.
I
No,
don't
no,
think
no.
it.
The Great Flood happened 11, 12,000 years ago. If
Well,
you look into that.
it's talking about, yeah, like a great apocalypse, but you're talking, fallen angels and everything like that.
I think it
I think,
happened. I think it's like 20, 30,000 years ago. And then like there's a fall of humanity
well,
again.
if the if the Bible reigns true, and even
Let it.
Norse beliefs reign true, then this all happened, and the flood all happened to get rid of the bad shit
Hmm.
11 to 12,000 years ago. So whatever came before that, no fucking idea.
Well, yeah, there's no way. I mean, like you look at it and you think of your if you
But
think to yourself like all of the ancient civilizations and all of those things and that we don't know anything about, that were washed off the earth, call it that.
mhm.
What, for a biblical reference, um, or were decimated. Those things, all of those things really, you don't like they all reference giants. They all reference like a Sasquatch type being, whether it's a Yeti or it's
Well,
whatever.
seeing
Eh,
that's my hang up, is that it's not in one of those books, and these books are talking about things from probably 2,000 to 3,000 years, right, of time.
Yeah.
And the Norse stories and sagas are 2,000 to 3,000 years, okay, from today, from today's date, roughly, give or take.
Hmm.
Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, right?
Hmm.
But none of those stories, like you, even like Norse, you're talking about like frost giants and that type of stuff, but you're not talking about like Squatch. You're talking like indigenous peoples, like American Indians, Mongolians, like, yeah, I'm not disagreeing there. It's all over the place for Squatch.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, in like even in like the Vedas and like Buddhists, like there's no documentation in the religious texts about Squatch, but there is about giants and Nephilim.
Hmm.
So that's why I think Squatch is different than giants or Nephilim.
It's a
That's why
solid,
I think there's a separation.
solid theory. Solid theory. I am open to options on it. I'm not saying I believe in one or another. I just want to pose the question of is Squatch a half breed? And there's a possibility. You have to, in the words of Brian, the great Doc himself, the Silver Fox,
Right.
it's plausible. It is plausible. They're
Yeah.
not as tall as, they're not as big as giants. They're a hominid. They are intelligent and they're just super hairy, like
Yeah,
super hairy.
they're more animally. They're
Maybe.
like more animally and less like man. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think obviously we only know what we've been told and know
Yeah.
what's been written down, right? And I feel like there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of shit that we're not told and not, you know, the things that were written down are not shown to us.
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean, we're only talking about people that have known about even Enoch for the
Well,
last
like
maybe
10 years.
75, 100 years.
I don't even know if they've even known about that. Like the
Because,
Book of
but like
Enoch,
broad, like on a broad spectrum,
I would say on a
since
broad
the Dead Sea
spectrum,
Scrolls, that's
I
it.
don't even think people even knew about it then. Like that word doesn't travel. People don't look at like discoveries that often overall. They look at what's in front of them now. And then
So
and the invention of social media has brought that shit forward. And so I'd probably say 15, 20 years max, people have understood that the Book of Enoch is real because it was
I
discovered
could,
when the Dead Sea Scrolls were there, and I knew about it then, but I never read any of the text.
well, it was so 1947, and the reason why I think it got out in the first place is because it was independent archaeologists. It was archaeologists doing what archaeologists are supposed to do,
Hmm.
not what they've been told that they can do. Because there's a whole movement like within the archaeology community of archaeologists that have been their licenses have been revoked. They can't go to certain places or do certain things because still nothing. Um, because they were going against the grain on their findings and the things that they were reporting on. So this is before everybody had a handle on it. You
Hmm.
know, World War II had just ended and it was huge because it had to do with the Bible.
Yeah.
So the word got out fast. But you're right, probably the last 15, 20 years is when people finally started actually reading it.
Right. Like they find, you get stuck on a Facebook reel or Facebook reels or Instagram reels or what is it, Vines for a while. Like you get stuck on that, and then next thing you know, it's like you're down the fucking rabbit hole. You're at the bottom of the rabbit
Well,
hole. And
and
you're
I
like,
would give you,
what the fuck?
I'll bet all the money in my bank account that the Catholic Church already had and still and has books in their library in the Vatican that still people don't know about.
Oh, for sure, 100%, dude. That's not even like a bet that I would ever
Yeah.
take against, right? Like there's a the the national animal of England, which is one of the oldest like Western civilizations there
Yeah.
is a fucking dragon. Like, you go down these paths and I feel like a lot of the times when we start talking about paranormal shit, we're really just being conspiracy theorists.
Oh yeah, but like
I
right
mean,
now,
like,
conspiracy theorists, dude, they're batting 1,000,
yeah, dude,
right?
like Hall of Famers, bro. Hall of
Yeah.
Famers. All
Yeah,
of
dude,
us
I'm
are.
I'm going pro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for somebody to sign me.
Yeah, like
Don't
me
sign
and
me for one of those death certificates. I'm just saying sign me up.
yeah, I was gonna say they probably already signed it. They just gotta stamp it and deliver it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's one of those things too that's gotten hidden away. And I think that the Vatican is sitting on some serious shit. And I think that like Dr. Hawask in Egypt,
Hmm.
false information agent, I think he's probably one of the biggest pieces of shit out there because his job, his whole life, so it seems, is to tell people exactly what it's not.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I have actually a paranormal thing that just barely happened right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So as we were sitting here, um, I picked up this bone my dog has been chewing on, and she's now staring off over in the corner, and then the entire room just went ice cold.
Oh no.
The little
I
girl's
just
hanging out. Little girl's hanging out.
I just got really weird chills like all over.
Yeah. So that's happening right now. Like this part of my body right here, on my right shoulder, all the way down, ice cold.
Yeah.
I
Chill.
have goosebumps on the entire right side of my
I'm
body.
I'm sorry, dude, but anything like that is probably you probably shouldn't let it stay in your house.
That's fine. She hasn't done anything wrong, so she's fine. She's hanging out, but super weird that it's just cold right here and this side is hot.
I don't know. Might be something to look into, bro.
I've already looked into it, man. Like I'm look, there's nothing that happens at the house that's negative, other than me. So it's fine.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that we need to continue this conversation as well. I think we do need. I think maybe what we need to do is we need to do a back and forth series.
A back and forth series.
Yeah. So we had the conversation earlier about men's mental health, and I mean, I love it because all of these conversations are really a path to showing people or teaching other men and people that you don't always have to align with your friends. And you can say, as we said in the past, no. And you can say, I don't believe that. And we can
Right.
say, we don't agree, but we can still fucking find commonality.
Right. We can still figure some shit out.
Yeah. So I
Or
think,
just go away with different opinions and
yeah.
it'll
And
be
like,
okay.
it'll be fine. Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and something else. I forgot the E. Anyway,
It is funny though because I have had somebody mention um who was it? Oh, it was John. It was our buddy John.
J Dub.
Yeah. And he said, in paraphrasing, of course, he's like, I had no idea that you were a Christian. He said, but you know, it kind of makes sense. And he's like, I never would have expected it based on, just the talks and interactions, right, that we
Mhm.
had. Because you and we agree to disagree on some stuff, but we
Yeah.
also agree on a lot of other stuff, that has to do with, Christian versus Norse and,
Mhm.
those types of beliefs. So it's a
Well,
we
it's
I and I was talking to him and I was like, there's a lot of commonalities and there's still a gigantic warrior breed within,
both.
within both. Yeah.
I agree. And so, the funny thing is I think that probably Tro does this the best because he is a devout Christian and he is the most humble human I've ever met in my entire life. And I admire him for that. Okay. But we've had many conversations that were theological conversations when we're drinking. And guess what happens? We just get drunk together and laugh at each other. And that's the thing, right? So I think that's what the world is currently missing right now. They're
Yeah, the
missing
conversation.
just a conversation. Like you don't have to be fucking like adamant that you're right and trying to convince somebody else that you're right. How
I think it'd
about
be very hard to prove that you're right about that each religion is right
almost
about
and
everything,
or
right?
yeah, or anything.
It's something has to give about, I
Oh,
think, all
hold
of
on.
them.
Okay, calm down, Kanye. Wherever you're at, you need to walk over there and you can watch TV. It's like you're sitting on my shoulder and I don't like it. It's weird. Sorry.
Kanye.
But I think you're right though. Like it's hard to prove about any of it. Like you can't prove anything absolutely. You can have faith in it. Make sure we understand this. You can have
Yeah.
faith in it and you can have a belief in it. And I'm not trying to disprove your faith or your belief. I don't care what you believe in. I don't
Yeah,
care what your faith is.
I don't think that's what either one of us have ever tried to do for
No.
any of them. I
No.
think there's things that correspond, and it's just like anything today. It trying to make sure that everything is 100% all the time.
You ain't gonna find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just ain't gonna happen.
I think
So,
parts of it are gonna be spot on,
mhm,
and other parts are gonna be
off.
paraphrasing
Yep.
from 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago.
Well, let's do this. Let's give the listeners a wrap up on what we're gonna
Okay.
do. I think number one, we're gonna break down men's mental health and the burden of man, based next week on our friend
R
group. Let's take our
R.
our matey. Um, what's a pirate's favorite letter?
Hmm. I don't know.
Some think it be R, but it actually be the C. You're
See
welcome.
that. I could see that.
R matey. All right. So what we'll do is we're gonna actually step back from this. I want to actually go down the men's mental health rabbit hole of the burden of man in a friend group and in our friend group and how we handle it on the three levels of financial, emotional, physical, and actually get into it. And then expand out of that over the next, I want to say a 5-part miniseries.
That's a
Um,
lot.
it
Let's just
is.
see where it goes. Let's not put a number on it. Let's just see where it goes.
Okay, let's go with at least 3-part. We did a
Yeah,
3-part dumb series.
we did. I'm just saying.
Dumbs? Yeah. Let's see where it goes. You're right.
Bo is like totally staring off into the corner too.
I know. I told you he was fucking doing it, dude. Not even fucking joking. I know he is. Anyway, he's got my back. And then we should do the same thing with the Giants. I want to do a lot more research, and I'll send you a bunch of links. And then we can come back to everybody and let them know what's going on. So
Yeah.
now,
It's important to do your own research, folks.
yes, and obviously everything we're posing is hypothetical. We're not saying we believe or don't believe. We will tell you when we believe in something 100%, like we have stated with Sasquatch and aliens. However, it is your responsibility to do the things. As
I would
always,
say that we're salting the rim.
I like that. Except for I don't like tequila. It's fine. We're definitely rimming it. We're rimming it. With that being said, thanks for listening. We are advocates of men's mental health. I want to do a huge shout out to the Bearded Viking Mead Company. Hurry up and get your building up, you fucks.
You dicks.
You dicks. Rogue Industries, thanks for all the shirts and hats and all the other cool shit that we have
Get
online.
A new shirt. Go online and get a new shirt.
Go buy one. Help us out.
Hoodies are on sale.
We're pushing them out. Got some new designs coming out. Thanks to Boss Graphic Design for all the things you're doing. Racing tomorrow. Cross that finish line alive. Go follow them. Give them support. Give them a shout out. And if you're a veteran, go find your local IW group and be part of it. Let's get there. With that being said,
get there.
I am Viko, the bearded one. You can call me JT for short.
And I am the Jarl. Changing up today. You ready?
Yeah.
Be selfless, not selfish.
Ooh. Fuck yeah. Cheers, motherfuckers.
Cheers.
See you on the flip side. I have to be so fucking bad.
Me too. I'll be back.